Your body count matters. I want to share that with you, and I'm going to also prove it. For a woman, body count matters because it affects her ability to connect. For men, body count matters because it affects his ability to commit. Here's how they go together. A female who has had intimate connection with too many men, and everyone's number is different, she loses her ability to connect to a man. For a male, a man who's had sex with too many women, he eventually loses his ability to commit to one woman. I'm going to prove that to you. And everyone's number is different. Now, I said the ability, the capacity, the capability to connect or to commit. I did not say the desire. We have, eventually, you'll have both men and women express their desire for a close, cherished, valued, trusted, respected relationship. But for women who have invested time in having sex with a number of men, she loses her ability to connect to a man. It's just as simple as that. For a man who's had sex with a number of women, he loses his ability to commit to one. Why? Because why, in his mind, why would he commit to one when he can have 2, 3, or 4? Here's the proof. I was married 20 years, from the age of 24 to age of 44. When I first separated from my wife, going through the process of divorce, for the first 2 years, I thought only in terms of being married, because that's just what I did for the previous 20 years. After about 2 years, I got in the marketplace, started going out, hanging out, dating various women. Now, I've always been psychotic about my health. I've always been selective about who I interact with. But because I had access to different women, I was able to experiment and do that, I discovered after about 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years, I lost my ability to, and the desire, because I just gone through a divorce, to be with one woman. When the desire came back after 6 or 7 years, I discovered that even though my desire was there to get to the point of committing, get to the point of considering someone as a marriage partner, the capacity was not there. I had lost that in the process. For females, it works in the reverse. When she's connected to too many men, she simply loses her ability to connect, value the closeness and the connection with one, because at a certain point, she loses her ability to be close to a male. Why am I sharing this with you? Because there's a lot of flaunting on social media about body count, and there's a lot of flaunting about being in your 20s, doing whatever you want. A number of, unfortunately, the females that think and talk that way, when they get older, they go through what I call the find Jesus, I found Jesus moment. And they want to go back to thinking they can be celibate, and I'm going through my second, space of being chaste. It doesn't exist. Then they want the guy that they meet to accept where they've been and move forward. Now, can you meet a guy like that? Sure. But a guy of high caliber is not going to want to tolerate someone who's had a high body count, because when you are in a committed marriage relationship, if that's what the end goal is going to be, you have to have trust. So you have to have the trust of the core of the person. That applies to both men and it applies to women. Why? Because a committed, long-term, successful relationship where people can bond and build something together, build an empire together, leave a legacy together, is spiritual at its core. That spiritual connection, the emotional connection, of course, the physical connection of intimacy, of sex, those things go together. Spiritual laws, you can deny them, but sooner or later, eventually, you have to acknowledge them. So they actually are undeniable, they're non-negotiable, and spiritual laws are uncircumventable. And in the space of spiritual laws that govern your success, the law of sowing and reaping, cause and effect, is undefeated. Eventually, it's undefeated. That's why you see females that were very attractive when they were young, fine as all get out when they were young, decided to have all the boyfriends they wanted. Now when they're older, now they want to find a partner. No, that's not how that works. And for men to be a man of value, an alpha male, a man who wants to be successful, leave a legacy behind, he discovers he does not have the time to be dealing with a whole bunch of females because it costs him too much. I know that for a fact. In the 6 to 8 years that it took me to go through the process of divorce and me being in the marketplace and dating here and having fun and not being just a fun guy, that the females that I met saw something good in me, but they're like, maybe I can get them to marry me. No, that's what they spent their time doing. I had no intention on marrying any of them. But here's what it cost me. Minimum, $3 million. Minimum, it cost me $500,000 a year. Minimum. That's a conservative number. So for a man who wants to build a future, he cannot be dealing with a bunch of females because it costs too much. It's just as simple as that. And you have women nowadays talking about, well, I want this guy that makes this amount of money and that amount, 6 figures, etc. They can't even count that high. This one woman said she wanted to have somebody who makes 600 grand. She's in her 20s. 600 grand, can you count that high? There is no man in her family lineage that has, when you put them all together, has made 600 grand. I have no idea what it takes for a man to be disciplined enough to earn that kind of money, to be worth that, to attract that into his private space. And they think they can acquire that kind of man. It's ludicrous. It's just delusional. But when you're in your 20s, you have the convenience of that, being delusional, expressing it on social media. When you begin to hit your 30s, if you stay in that space, you still look young, vibrant. When you hit 40, men expect certain things from the female that they're going to be with. Both pay a price. You can undo the damage, but I want to share this with you so that you can avoid getting to the space where you have to go through that. Understand your body count matters. Men lose the ability to commit. Women lose the ability to connect with a high body count. Do things the right way. Have fun, yes, but keep that in mind. I want to wish you all the blessings and success you deserve.